is it so, Paramanandru? Today is Vaishnava Maharaji Disappearance Day.
Yes, Maharaj. And
Okay.
beautiful program this morning.
And did they play our
Was
little
with
video or not?
Oh yes, yes, we saw you, we saw Munindra, we saw Krishna Kanta, very sweet.
Okay.
But like Jivana Didi mentioned, they're going to celebrate tomorrow.
Because tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is tomorrow in America.
Okay.
Yeah,
But why
we're a
tomorrow,
little
Jivana?
behind. We're a little behind. Yeah, a little behind on time with you all.
No, you're not. Oh, yes, you are.
We
Oh, yes,
are,
you are. You're
we
quite
are.
right. Okay, yes, you're tomorrow. Okay, well, we've started today. Yes, you're quite right.
Nice.
All
Can't go
right.
wrong with that.
So, okay, we usually give a few minutes, but the devotees were here. We can begin. We're usually thinking, okay, 5 minutes in, we've got our devotee crew, but we're already 3 minutes in. And we know that Jayadev and Chintamani, they're running on their own time, so they may be a little later. So they'll be here. And let us begin by giving obeisances to each other. And really, as I say, a high-powered gathering here with us today. And Lilavati is waiting to come in too, our Chinese Lilavati. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat all, Dandavat Lilavati. And I can just begin by mentioning that yesterday our Italian program somehow spread out. Oh, Kumkum was with us yesterday in our Italian program. Somehow our Italian program spread to around the world. And what was it? It was our recalling our trip up to Muktinath. And so I expect they recorded it, but you did get your mention there, Lilavati, did he? And the devotees, we went up to Muktinath, like, with the pictures, but with the story. But it was the Italian gathering, but somehow the word get out, and we were happy to have lots of devotees around the world with us. And that actually the season is coming soon, means when the devotees will be gathering in Navadip. Now is already the end of January. It was New Year's Day and Gurudev's appearance day a few hours ago. But now we're already coming to February. Then February and March, this time is the pilgrimage time. Actually, December, January, February, March, that kind of time from Gurudev's Vyasa Puja through until Gauropanima, and then after Gauropanima would be our very busy time in Navadip. So, first of all, can I ask, is there either any questions or any topic that somebody would like us to address for the back to basics? Yes, and I know Praneshwari is not only Praneshwari, she's a spokeslady for many. Praneshwari Didi.
Maharaj, you have obeisances from Divya Shakti and
Divya Shakti.
Gurji Karora from Kolkata.
Oh, okay.
And Gauranga Das, the elder brother of Shankar, our little Shankar.
Oh, okay.
He's also
Yes.
sending obeisances.
Not so little Shankar now, I'm sure.
Not so little. He's taller than Gauranga now.
Wow. Right. Okay. Gauranga Prabhu. Yeah, Gauranga Das Prabhu. Yes.
And you have a question from Rupa Vilas Prabhu. He sent it earlier in the last class, but I didn't read it to you. It was regarding Ekadashi. He says, I noticed that in our mat, we don't discuss the glories of each of them as described in the Puranas. Why?
Okay.
Why would
Okay.
you give us the glories?
So, yes, so Rupa Vilas Prabhu, maybe you're with us on Facebook now. Anyhow, I know that you'll be seeing. So, Rupa Vilas Prabhu, we have actually gone through this on our like Ekadashi, back to basics on previous days. But actually, why? The reason why is Gurudev said we don't. So, we are happy with that. But then Gurudev also did give an explanation why, I mean, just a one or two liner, and that is that the Puranas, these descriptions that are given in the Ekadashi Mahatmya, which actually we were reading in front of Guru Maharaj at his Samadhi in Navadip, we were reading from there, or the devotees were reading from there, headed by a senior, I mean, senior means older devotee from India, red clan, actually Vanaprastha from India. And we were reading from there, and then Gurudev, as he does, he's very conscious what's happening in the temple, he's walking around the temple, and one day he came and he saw, oh, we're reading from this. And then he didn't stop us reading in front of Guru Maharaj, but then afterwards, Gurudev said that we don't read these particular stories. We can read privately maybe, but he said we are not focusing there. It's not a matter of a discourse in front of Guru Maharaj in particular, but that we are not giving full attention there, because in general, the pastimes that are there, they are with the impression that if I do something, I will get this back. If I do on this particular Ekadashi, I will get this result. It's like still keeping this self-consciousness that I'm doing something for me. So throughout the Puranas, there are various carrots in front of the donkey, which I have actually seen, by the way, where they hold a carrot in front of a donkey. I've seen it and was amazed. And they hold some food in front of a donkey to keep it walking forward in the right direction. And so many of these things are like carrots in front of us, maybe golobjamans or something like that, some nice sweet in front of us, to keep us going in the right direction. But we've come to Mahaprabhu's school. We've come to the school of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam is clear and straight and to the point of Krishna Bhakti, even without knowledge and without motivation. And this is the message of the Vedas. This is what is our life, that Ekadashi is one of those favorable days that we honor, that we observe in the way our gurus have told us how to observe, but without wanting anything for ourselves. It is Krishna's day. Krishna's day. So we are not referring to the Puranas except where they've been specifically quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj, by Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Saraswati Thakur, etc. And having said that, I mean, I have, I don't know if I've read the whole Ekadashi Mahatmya, but I've certainly been there when the reading has taken place of some of the days of the Ekadashi Mahatmya. And having said that, some of those Puranic stories, they're quite encouraging. Should I tell you one? After giving that talk. Okay, I'll tell you one, seeing as you all say yes. Yes, Kalachan Prabhu, oh, you're in the temple with Maheshwari, Jai, Juvati, Devi Dasi, Govinda, Govinda. And Radha Sundari Devi Dasi joined us also. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, and Hawaii Giriraj Govardhan of Ekadashi and Radharaman Ki Jai, because we do tend to remember them. And I heard from Radharaman Prabhu just a couple of days ago, and they're doing well, by the way, in Hawaii. So, okay, Kalachandji. And so it's one world with different times, but in Chiang Mai, they have been holding some remembrance, happy, I'm sure it's been happy remembrance of Srila Bhakti Sharan Vaishnava Maharaj, our dear Shruta Shravar Prabhu, and his passing away day in Thailand time and our time here. And we'll hear more from you later. I was just reminded, Kalachand, and Shruta Shravar is Kalachand's father. So he knows quite a lot about him in a Vatsalya relationship and other relationships, no doubt too, as a father and a friend. Okay, anyway, I'm about to tell you some one of the stories that I've heard from the Ekadashi Puran after everything I've said, because this story, anyway, I'm going to say, I don't know why because I found it at least entertaining. Anyhow, the story is short and sweet, and the story is about one of the Ekadashis. Then the story related to that Ekadashi is that the day, anyhow, there was a wedding arranged, a marriage was arranged between the daughter and the husband. So everything took place, all the wedding celebration took place, and then the feast, everybody happy, these things are all going on. But then after the next day or a couple of days later, it was Ekadashi. And so, as was the tradition at that time, then they all head to the lady's house, the bride's house. So the husband, or rather the new husband and the wife, go to the bride's house, and then they go to the groom's house, whatever it may be. It may be the other way around. I'm not very sure. It is literally decades since I've heard this story, and I only heard it once. But anyhow, the moral of the story will be apparent soon. So they're going to either the bride's or the groom's house, and then they are walking, and as you know, they didn't have cars, this, that, and the other. So they're walking, and they walked very far, and it was the Ekadashi day that they were going to the home of the in-law, whichever in-law it was. And then when they got there to the home, then they're kind of exhausted. And I'm shining a light, I'll read the comment. Okay, they were exhausted. I'm shining a light in my face. It's a new light, Chintamani Didi. Anyhow, we'll work on this in a minute. Okay, because you can see it in my glasses, right? All right, we'll work on the light part in a minute. So they've been walking and walking and walking. They got to the home of the in-law, and they were like exhausted and hungry and thirsty and everything. And then they're in their mind naturally thinking, Govinda, Govinda. In their mind, they're naturally thinking, oh, we'll get there and there'll be some prasadam, we'll get some nourishment. But it was Ekadashi. And so the head of the house, when they got there, he said, I'm sorry, in my household, nobody takes anything on Ekadashi. Everybody fasts on Ekadashi in my household. And he said, even my animals, the dog, the cows, they are all fasting on Ekadashi. And anyhow, so they got there. So oh my goodness. So they are fasting on Ekadashi. And then the husband, so I think they did go to the wife's house. The husband died in the night. He died of hunger and thirst. And anyhow, with his passing away, there was a description how he went with an aeroplane back to Vaikuntha and this and this and this. So that was a beautiful description of him returning home. And the moral of the story came to be that even if you fast when it's not voluntary and forced fasting and everything else on that particular Ekadashi, and if you die on that day, then even if it's all forced and you weren't doing it devotionally, then you'll be taken to Vaikuntha. This was that story. And so I just mention that to you that these are the kind of things which are given in the Ekadashi Mahatmya. But you see, when we hear this, then we start thinking, oh, yes, yes, then I'm going to fast and I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. This is the equivalent of my phoning for a cab to take me somewhere, right? So instead of using the telephone, we're thinking, okay, I want to go somewhere, so I'm going to call a cab. I want to go somewhere, so I'm going to fast on Ekadashi. So this, you see, Gurudev is so clean in his cultivation of the devotees. He wants us to be clean. He wants all the devotees to be clean at heart and not to do things with a motive. Yes, Rupanuga Prabhu, you unmuted your mic. Would you like to, have you got a contribution for us?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, that's a good contribution. Okay. I just noticed your mic was unmuted, so there we are.
Maharaj, one more message is on the chat box.
From Pranesh, I saw the one about the light. Yeah, I haven't quite worked out the lights, and I just turned them on. So yeah, we'll try to be more professional. Krishna, through his devotees, have given lights, not for me, but for the ashram. They're doing, in order to keep up the ashram, the devotees here are very innovative. And so they do online cooking classes, paying online cooking classes and other things. So now they're trying to improve with some lights, but we need to give a little attention to where they're placed, don't we? Govinda, 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 Praneshwari. In the last class, you mentioned that in Vila Govinda, you were asked with surprise, how come we were still at the basic level in the basics classes? And Jayadev said with a big smile, said, I have mused many times at the PhD level topics that are often covered. Oh, really? Well, Jayadev Prabhu. Oh, Rupanuga Prabhu. So, oh, you're with us here? Oh, yes, Rupanuga Prabhu is with us here. Right. So, so it's Rupa Vilas I was answering to. Yes, I was talking to Rupa Vilas. That was his question about the Ekadashi. So about Ekadashi, so the final word about Ekadashi is we follow the guidance of our masters, and because we've been directly guided by Srila Gurudev in this way, then definitely we follow his guidance. So we don't read from the Ekadashi Mahatmya. And there's a comment. Well, actually, Jayadev Prabhu, you make a good comment, because there are many things that we take for granted. And yesterday, well, I heard yesterday, but it was the day before. Anyway, whose day before, etc., we have to think. But how in Goswami Maharaj's class, from Chiang Mai, his Chiang Mai evening class, then he mentioned about one phrase, and he said, we only hear this from Srila Guru Maharaj. We've not heard this from any other place. It is not written anywhere. Oh, it was the expression which we kind of feel is even normal, because we are in Guru Maharaj and Gurudev's family. So we are hearing it and we think this isn't a complicated matter. But Goswami Maharaj pointed it out to us that even the expression that according to its necessity, then water has its value, something simple has its value. Similarly, according to the seva necessity, seva has its value. And then that example of water is very ordinary, but in the desert, it can be extremely valuable according to its necessity. So some of these simple examples, they are coming from Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, and we almost take them for granted. And then we are reminded by your expression, Jayadev Prabhu, here in that you gave last time, perhaps, the Praneshwari is relaying, that many of these things, they are actually, you can say, high understanding. Something like when we first read Bhagavad Gita, we think, oh yes, it makes complete sense. But nobody ever said them before to us in the regular world. But a similar way in the regular devotional world, there are so many things which also, when we hear them, yes, we get a big tick mark in our heart, but nobody said them before, as Srila Goswami Maharaj pointed out. Hare Krishna. So if there are some points which we mention, which we take for granted that everybody knows, but you want some elaboration, anybody please chip in happily and let me know, let us know so we can clarify. Hare Krishna. Sushmita, Hare Krishna. Dandavat, Ni hao. All good. Hare Krishna. And Chandrakanti from Thailand joining us too. And Shannon, which looks remarkably like Chintamani Devi Rasi. And Narayani. Yes, the Narayani Devi Rasi. Narayani is always going to be a young teenager to me, because that's how we know you. And you are still a young teenager at heart, no doubt, Narayani Devi. Dandavat and welcome.
Dandavat, thank you. Trying to grow up.
Well, we're all trying to grow up devotionally, but a simple heart is always good for us, to keep a simple heart.
Maharaj, Chandrakanti is joining from China.
Oh, you're
so
back.
is Indumukhi.
So Narayani, can you just close your microphone? We're getting a little, oh, I can mute you, I think. Okay, there we are. Sorry, we got a bit of a loop going there. So Chandrakanti is in China. Oh, Chandrakanti.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
I'm from China.
Got it. Yes, Chandrakanti Devi. I know now. So, Prabhu, thank you for the reminder. I was going another way. Yes, Chandrakanti Devi. Yes, very good. So 2 devotees from China with us today, as well as Lilavati Didi. Lilavati Didi is a connection to China.
Maharaj is 3. Indumukhi, Sushmita, and Chandrakanti.
Oh, Indumukhi, Hare Krishna, sorry, missed you. You keep popping up on the screen, and in Zoom, somehow you move around, you dance on the screen. You're going from one place to another, the pictures. Right, Indumukhi, very good. Okay, so, yes, Praneshwari, did he? Oh, yes, Indumukhi, did he? Did you have a question?
I have no question. I just listened his better today now.
Okay, Indumukhi, so very welcome. And so let us continue. And are there
say something, Maharaj?
Sorry, I heard a voice. Was that Chinmoy Dev Prabhu?
Shakira was looking to say something, I think.
Shakira, yes, please. Can you unmute your mic or not? Yes, okay, very good.
Thank you, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I just wanted to find out what is the reason for you wearing tilak on different areas of the body, and what is tilak made from? Is it from the clay of the rivers, or could you please explain that for me?
Okay, tilak markings on the body. Okay, all right, yes, I was just going to ask to close the microphone. So the tilak markings on the body. First of all, why do we do anything? I mean, we can give a one-line answer. Our gurus tell us to do so. Okay, that's good enough for us. And but we can go a little more. That we see even in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Krishna books, which means the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there we see that Krishna wears tilak. Mother Jashoda puts tilak on Krishna, puts tilak on 12 places of his body, and chanting the mantra, chanting the mantras for protection of the body, taking the 12 names, 12 of the unlimited names of the Lord, which also incidentally, or not, incidentally, also coincide with the names of the months in the Vedic way, or the traditional way. The months have the names of the Lord also. So this is why we do it. And somebody, one yogi type devotee, told me that, oh, actually these parts of the body, they're important chakra parts of the body. I've never heard Gurudev say anything like that, but it may well be. It's not impossible for those who, a yogi kind of persons who, are attracted by things like that, to give more inspiration to wear tilak. But the fact is that our gurus have asked us to do like this, and tilak, we have to say, always looks very like, I don't know, beautiful or dignified, or somehow, Mahaprabhu himself, he would send the students home if they came without wearing tilak. And he said, oh, and there are some expressions where and I better close my eyes now, to see somebody who's not wearing tilak is like looking at someone in a graveyard, something like this. So, don't look at yourselves in the mirror sometimes if you're not wearing a tilak, whatever it may be. But anyway, these expressions are given. Mahaprabhu, then he is wearing tilak. Mahaprabhu is insisting his students wear tilak, and even telling them, you can't come in my class if you're not wearing tilak. So there are many precedents like this. And what are we wearing, or what is the tilak made of? It's made of what is called gopi chand. And okay, where do we get gopi chand? From the Bandari in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, the storehouse, in the storeroom in Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, when we need some tilak, we go there and they give us tilak. So, and it comes in rock form. Now, where do they get it from? I've heard that its actual pure origin is Dwarka, and at a place in Dwarka where they have like the specialist tilak, which
the Chandan Tirtha, Maharaj.
Chandan Tirtha. It's near Dwarka, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, I'll pass the microphone over to Paramananda Prabhu, because he's probably more of a specialist than me, but I know that the connoisseurs of tilak, they have the special place to get it from. But let us hear from Paramananda Prabhu, then I can add a PS after I hear.
Maharaj, nothing substantial, just description of geographical location where the tilak is coming from, but it is somehow related with Seva. So. Yes, Maharaj, like you say, it's from Dwarka, and there's a place, Chandan Tirtha, like huge deposits of tilak, I mean, clay that we use for tilak. And then we hear this story about how Madhavacharya discovered deity of Gopal. So they were trading with clay that's been used for tilak since time immemorial. So somehow the sheep got stuck somewhere on a sandy bank or something. Then Madhavacharya, with his strength, superhuman strength, he helped them to resume the normal journey. And then as a gift, they're giving this huge chunk of tilak that's also coming. It is also mentioned they were bringing this tilak from that place in Dwarka. That's the origin, but also it is mentioned that some devotees, they're using clay from the Ganges, the clay from Jamuna River, the auspicious clays to put the tilak. But traditionally, it is coming from Dwarka, the original clay for tilak.
That am I muted? No? Yeah, that reminds me too about from China, the spice trade. It's almost amazing. How is it that there was like wars fought over simply taking spices from China to Europe? And then you see, we think, oh, you know, spice is an ordinary thing. And then in India, we're feeling, oh, Chandan is, or Tilak, that particular Gopi chant, that we're thinking it's an ordinary thing. But then you see, yes, they were trading with this. And so in Navadip, somebody is bringing all the way from Dwarka, without a train, without postal service, somebody's bringing all that tilak over from Dwarka, which geographically, as Paramananda was pointing out, it's on the far west side of India. That sea is called the Arabian Sea, or maybe, I think. Anyway, on the far west side, and even today to get to Dwarka is a little bit of an austerity. It's not express trains and things like that, though they do have the local train. But a local train in India equates to austerity in the modern world, I think. And anyhow, it's a long way away. And those often have fossils inside them. And I know that the connoisseurs of tilak, they say, oh, it's only real tilak if there's a fossil within it. But then, yes, Madhvacharya, he came across a deity inside a block of tilak, which is amazing. Then you think some big blocks of tilak. And Paramananda mentioned that, yes, tilak may come from other places. And Mahaprabhu, you will see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it does mention that Mahaprabhu, he, after bathing and revealing Radha Kund and Shyama Kund, after revealing Radha Kund, then Mahaprabhu, he bathed and then put on tilak from Radha Kund. So yes, Mahaprabhu did it. However, we do not do it. Why? Because Gurudev, he disapproved, said our tilak is the Gopi Chand tilak, this orange color tilak, which comes from Dwarka and may come from some other places too. I cannot promise it. There's not some place of this color. I also heard there's a place somewhere on the banks of the Ganges, but I've never seen this color of mud on the banks of the Ganges before. But we don't wear the tilak from Radha Kund, and Gurudev, he was actually disturbed by that. He said it is imitation. It is not what we do. So we must be very careful. And again, we've got the guidance of Gurudev and on many subjects which we may never know about. So when we have guidance, then we follow that guidance. So even though there are maybe other places, and we know Mahaprabhu also himself put on tilak from Radha Kund, but we do not do that. We follow the Gopi Chandan style. So good that you bring up this question. And 12 parts of the body, and remembering the Lord. So Mother Jashoda is giving to Krishna for his protection. And we are wearing tilak by the direction of our masters. And we are doing everything, number one, for our protection, but number two, for our the favorable items for our devotional service. And the favorable items are following the guidance of Guru. So this is why we are wearing tilak. And I can say, and you also, all of you have the experience, I'm sure. As soon as somebody puts on tilak, they look beautiful or dignified or whatever the word might be. So we shall even see from like an objective point of view. It is very auspicious. And I think Guru Maharaj was quoting Srila Saraswati Thakur, and somebody may correct me if I'm wrong, and that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur one day putting on tilak and saying that, oh, I'm putting on my disguise, I'm putting on a disguise. And I know devotees quote it. Can I get confirmation from anybody that was actually Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur who said that originally. I know Guru Maharaj said it, but I think Guru Maharaj said it in like repeating or reflecting that Srila Saraswati Thakur said such a thing one day.
Maharaj, if it is coming from Srila Guru Maharaj, there is no doubt it must come from Srila Saraswati Thakur.
Guru Maharaj is very original also, but the conception, yes, I mean, everything is coming from Saraswati Thakur, but Guru Maharaj, some of Guru Maharaj's examples, of course, he has his original contribution there. Hare Krishna. And as that, I mean, really, I was quite surprised when about that expression, that necessity, savor according to its necessity has its value, because it just seems, yes. But interesting, and Goswami Maharaj is so well read, etc. And he said it's not written anywhere else. Here it is presented by Guru Maharaj, in original form. And then what to speak of the Gayatri, explanation of the Gayatri mantra, and the commentaries on the 4 Chatur Shloki of Bhagavad Gita, etc., which we come to know about and hear about. That Guru Maharaj himself saying, this has come to me, and this I am sharing with you like this. And he said, I looked, but I could not find anywhere in the scripture where this is mentioned about his description of the Gayatri mantra, for instance. And he said, I heard somebody mentioned that Jiva Goswami had touched on this point. He said, but I could not find it. So, some of the things we know are very original from Guru Maharaj in that department, but some of the, what we consider basics, which actually we don't hear anywhere else, then these are also original from Guru Maharaj.
Maharaj.
Yes.
Just a quick question. I heard you're supposed to use your ring finger to put tilak on and not your middle finger. Is that correct?
I don't know. I have to wait. I'm just going to make some tilak. And now which finger do I use? It's this finger. What finger is this?
That's the middle finger.
So I've got to put on tilak now. Mix the tilak in my hand. Oh yes, it's this finger. You're right.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I have to think about that one.
Is the ring finger?
Yeah, it is the ring finger. You're right. Some things we do automatically. It is the ring finger. You're quite right.
Maharaj, in the chat, the link for Service Life that was compiled by Devashish Prabhu, there on page 30 is the information about applying tilak, and it's quite comprehensive. So Shakir, this is very good for you to read.
Okay. And does it say that, I mean, some devotees, like who follow things very strictly, they say, oh, you must be seated when you put it, you must be bathed, wearing clean cloth, etc., and seated when you're putting on tilak. So, there are some things, but I can say that we see practically that you don't have to be seated, etc., because devotees are putting on tilak, standing up, looking in the mirror. It's not that, oh, now suddenly we're going to have to take the mirror off the wall, sit down on the floor. We want to be practical with everything that we do. And it may say there, because I've certainly been told and chastised not by Gurudev, not by Gurudev in this occasion, but for standing up and putting on tilak in the mirror like this. Hare Krishna. And certainly at the special occasions, we know also devotees sometimes they're putting on tilak, not on all 12 parts of the body, but certainly we should, if we can. But the other thing is that on like special times, like initiations, etc., then should be wearing on 12 parts of the body. Gurudev specifically, pointing this out.
Also, Maharaj, in the absence of chandan, it is also mentioned we can use water.
And
if we don't have, yes, holy water, we can invite the rivers. There's a mantra to do that. And most of the pujaris, they know that mantra. They're using it often.
Right. And another good point there, that Gurudev said we should always be wearing tilak. And then a devotee, and I was just thinking, was it Shruta Shrapaprabhu? But I think it wasn't in this case. But a devotee said to Gurudev, oh, but Gurudev, if we wear tilak, to the office and things like that, then people are going to think we're strange. What did Mahayogi? Mahayogi said something like this. You think that we're a fanatic red Indian or something like this. He said in Mexico. He said about in Mexico, because he lives in Mexico. He's a professor of English. He said something like, oh, they'll think I'm a fanatic red Indian if I wear. They'll think I'm wearing paint on my forehead. So, Western culture, or otherwise, how much culture we have to consider. Sometimes we have to consider. Anyway, but Gurudev, then he, of course, acknowledged the point. Gurudev, very realistic. And he said, it's not possible for you to wear tilak with the visible tilak, as Paramanandapu just mentioned, you can put your tilak and say your mantras with water and with holy water. Gange cha Yamune chaiva, that verse which you'll find in Service Life, which I believe Praneshwari is given a link there. Yes, there we are. That book, Service Life, it's got lots of things in there. And remember that Service Life book is giving you also the ideal. So it's not that this is the actual standard of every devotee in the mat is going to follow everything that is there. But it is good to know the ideal, and as far as possible, what Gurudev has given as our practical application of the different advices in the scripture. And again, I do not know if it is there, but it is certainly there that Gurudev, he told that we should always be wearing tilak, and if we have to, for going to the office or going for whatever it may be, then to put the tilak on the body with holy water. So another point come out through our discussion. Anybody else has a tilak related point? And normally I can say in India too, and Gurudev, he gets the tilak, this is a phone, I know, but he gets the tilak and then they mix it in the hand. So in the palm of the hand, they're putting a few drops here. And actually, if you want to know how many drops, I find 8 drops. If you've got a little tick, 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 8 drops, and you can put from a panchapatra, that's sufficient to make, and then to put tilak for all of your body, without it being too decorative tilak. If you're going to make the perfect way of like the tulsi leaf and the 2 lines on every part of your body, you're going to need more than 12 drops of tilak, or 8 or 12 drops of tilak.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, devotees. And Maharaj, I also, when you said it's for protection, is it currently or when you leave your body? Or is it just every day when you said that you put the markings for protection?
For every day.
Every day, okay.
For every moment. It's just accept its protection. It's Mother Yashoda protects her son, it's a natural thing. And so we are being protected by our gurus. It's a natural thing from their department. And I'm sure Mother Yashoda, there's danger in the forest. So Mother Yashoda is protecting. And actually, there is something, may Lord Madhava protect me from this. May Lord Padmanabha protect me from this. May Lord Govinda protect me from this, Madhusudan protect me from this, etc., etc. But I honestly can't remember what those protections are, or specific protections. But even without the modern world, there's danger at every step. So it's a natural protection. It's not just, oh, I'm going to die in half an hour, I better go and put on some tilak.
Well, Srila Gurudev, he also elaborated on that. So he said it is protecting us from our uncontrolled mind, and it's reminding us who we are. So when we look in the mirror, we see Tilak, reminding us who we're aspiring to be. And if we're not looking in the mirror, then the people around us will remind us that. So that is a substantial protection. What happens after that, we do not know, but at least we can get this kind of protection.
Jai. And there are auspicious things and inauspicious things. Tilak is auspicious. And Kamsa, when he looked in the mirror, on the morning that Krishna came to town, or the next morning, maybe after Krishna came to town, when Kamsa looked in the mirror, he couldn't see his head. Now that's not very auspicious. So if we look in the mirror and see Tilak, that's kind of a good sign. If we look in the mirror and we can't see our head, it's like just isn't there, then you can think, oh, I better find that Tilak pretty fast. Because the inauspicious things for the devotees, they get transferred to, okay, now I better do the auspicious thing.
Maharaj.
Yes.
As you're mentioning that Tilak is very visible, I do recall anytime that we would go preaching, go to classrooms, inevitably, the first question would be, what are you putting on your head? So I think it's good for all devotees to know what is Tilak, why we put it on, and stuff like that, because inevitably, people on the outside are going to see that marking and they are going to ask about it.
Yeah. And in Russia, we know that things are tightened down, law-wise, and this, that, and the other. But Prithu Prabhu, he always glows. Prithu's always glowing, but he always basically is wearing his tilak everywhere. And Vijay Raman Prabhu, his car wears tilak, like beautiful, big tilak, all the way down the hood or the bonnet, depending on where you come from, of the car. I mean, really nice, on the front and on the back of the car. And it's a red car with yellow tilak. And so the car is wearing tilak, people are asking. And Prithu Prabhu is wearing tilak, and people are asking. And so this is also, even in a tightened down world, the tilak is an opening to present our Krishna conscious, our affectionate, loving, Krishna conscious family conception. And incidentally, we would in general, when we're going for the visas for Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, literally put on, shirt, tie, like the photograph of Kala Chandru on his wedding day. Ha ha, Kala Chandru. And I saw, you don't know Rogero, an Italian devotee here. I saw him once, his shirt and tie, looking very smart. Anyway, when we would go to the embassies to get the visas for Gurudev and the devotees, generally we would try to draw as little kind of attention as possible and just go through the hoops and do it. But still, we put our water tilak to go to those places. Didn't take off the tilak. Didn't actually wear the yellow tilak. But I just wanted to say, but Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and you can see the historic photos. His passport photo, which is in his passport, is not only tilak, it's thick, big tilak on his face. So, very clear and open, Srila Prabhupada is there with his tilak on. Hare Krishna. And Chinmoy Defu, do you have any tilak directly Gurudev related incidents, like a chastisement or anything else? Not that you would be likely to be chastised, but.
I was definitely chastised, but not for Tilak.
Okay, the next question is.
Maharaj.
You have a question from Indumuki. Oh, Indumuki,
Yes.
please ask him.
Yes, Maharaj. So, can you give us some advice of the Chinese devotees? Should we, how to make some tilak on our body?
Do you mean without having tilak, actual tilak there
Yes.
in China? This question.
Yes, we don't have tilak, but when I heard your lecture, I want to do some tilak in our body.
Okay,
But,
so yes, so at least to do the water tilak. This tilak you can do, and that verse for making Ganga Jal, for inviting the Ganga and the other holy rivers into the water pot, that's in that book, Service Life. So you can just download that booklet. It's everything, all these booklets are for free. It's there in that book, Service Life, and just look at that part which says about putting on tilak. But I have the question, and I think Paramananda Prabhu, if he's still, where is Paramananda? Oh, there you are. You moved again, you see, dancing around the screen. I don't know if we're all on the same place on every screen, but Paramananda Prabhu can maybe tell, in Russia, how did you make tilak when you didn't have tilak? And if anybody else, you can think, maybe Kumkum knows from the early days also. But let's hear from Paramananda Prabhu first, because I have that question. Here, I'm now in Italy, and we're all locked out of India, essentially. And we're also thinking, if we run out of tilak, what do we use? So it's my question too.
Maharaj, in the beginning, because it was still a Soviet Union, so devotees were persecuted. So we all wear water tilaks. Except that some devotees, somehow it was smuggled. Because some devotees, they actually made it. Like you hear from Srila Goswami Maharaj, Krishna Kshetra Prabhu, now he's Krishna Kshetra Maharaj. Devamrita Swami, disciples of Srila Swami Maharaj, they came to Russia and they brought some supplies, but it was really a short supply. So in the very beginning, for the maybe first 2-3 years, we used water and mantras, like you said.
And if you want to use, like in the temple, if you want to use actually tilak, looking tilak, orange color, yellow color, did you have
Maharaj,
some way around it in Russia without the
we
original?
always had it. We always had original chandan, original clay. Except this 2-3 years before when the Soviet Union transitioned into democratic republic.
Okay, so then a question then for Kumkum Diri. You were there in the early days. So probably you didn't have in America actual tilak. I'm sure Srila Prabhupada didn't come with a big block of tilak from Dwarka. What did you use, or what was the workaround? Do you know?
Well, yes, there were sometimes substitutions, and if this was not okay, we were completely ignorant of it. We thought the essence was to try and follow however you could. And so things like saris would be from a fabric store, just any fabric. Tilak would be some mud from a local river, the mud on the riverbank of the nearest river. And it was not this color. It was grayish brown, but there were many things like that. Even japa beads were not Tulsi. They were from a craft store, some kind of wood. And I don't think people knew that there was any problem with doing these things without the proper materials. There just wasn't information. There were only about 2 books published, and so.
Okay, so you took from a river, a clean river, no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I don't have a solution for making the yellow color, but I have heard that there was some mixture that devotees would make, which was very funky as a, like an alternative. But if anybody gets to know the recipe, then let us know. So Indumukhi Diri, just use water and read that service life, that section in the service life book. It shows Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Naranaya Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha, etc. And it has a little picture of where to put the tilak. And you don't have to, I mean, we just see it with Gurudev, we see it with the devotees. You don't have to make like the 2 lines and the tilak on every part of your body, unless you want to be perfect. We are putting the marks just with the ring finger, as I now remember, because honestly, without doing it, I couldn't remember which finger. With the ring finger and yeah, the third, the one beside the little finger, this finger here. Can you see me? Oh, yes. I couldn't find myself there for a minute. I've also moved on the screen. And then just put that on these parts of your body. And as you're doing it, you say the Om Keshavaya Namaha, etc.
Right, I think also Lilavati Didi can arrange a few pieces of chandan to be sent to Indumukhi Didi, and she can share with other devotees.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Pamananda.
Yes, very welcome. I mean, it's an interesting thing. The questions come up that don't come up. When we live in the temple, life's very easy. Even Ekadashi, we don't analyze too much what is, what can be cooked and can't be cooked, because when we're in the temple, we accept every day just whatever comes to us. So in one way, we don't know all the whys, but we just accept it because the cook knows what he's meant to do. The chandan is there. We go to the bandari and say, please, I need some chandan. And they give us some chandan. Hare Krishna. So even in Mahaprabhu's time then, they are doing business, as it were. Someone's bringing chandan. Oh, well, thinking of chandan, then also, okay, my yesterday, your day before yesterday, tomorrow, no, can't remember. Anyway, Wednesday evening, this last Wednesday evening talk of Goswami Maharaj, then also, he took us on pilgrimage. He took us with Mahaprabhu to Chirchora Gopinath in Ramuna. And he took us from Vrindavan to the Malaya Hills, which are near Puri, there in Orissa, those Malaya Hills, where he's getting that chandan. This is a different kind of chandan. And there, that chandan is the chandan that you grind on the grinding stone, and it gives essence. And Gopinath, Gopal, the deity that he discovered or that revealed himself, that he was in the forest just near Govinda Kund at Govardhan Hill, Gopal sent him to get chandan. So this also goes by the name of chandan. And you see from Puri, near Puri, in the eastern side of Orissa, that time, then some persons are bringing chandan all the way over to Vrindavan. So similarly, the chandan for making tilak would be coming from Dwarka by some persons. But in the case of Madhavendra Puri, of course, Gopal is directly asking to Madhavendra Puri, you bring me that. So Madhavendra Puri is not going to a shop, and he's going there to get the best chandan, not just any chandan. Hare Krishna. So today is the Tilak day, as it turns out. And the reminder to us of even some of the most simple things that we hear from Guru, what we think are like simple things from Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. Some of them are revolutionary. They're things that we only hear from Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, which means from Saraswati Thakur, from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And sometimes we understand, like here we are, we're all together, we all know, we all have faith, know who is Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, we all know who is Srila Prabhupada, who is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So when we have got our head there, then whatever is coming, it is not poetry, it is not or nice words or some nice expression, giving an analogy of the color or something like this as a nice poetic expression, but it is the very substance of our devotional life. And so this substance is coming through Srila Saraswati Thakur in this modern age to our Guru Maharaj, to Gurudev, and through to the Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda, all those who are representing them, introducing them, bringing their message exclusively into this world, spreading this around. So we accept happily, and we are reading, as you probably know, we're reading different books now, reading The Loving Search for the Lost Servant, and every paragraph there, every page there has got things. And we commented, and I don't exactly recall what it was, but we commented ourselves the other day reading here, that this is coming from Guru Maharaj. And it is, where else will we hear such things, is what we actually said to each other when we are reading from The Loving Search. The whole focus on the beauty of Krishna, and that beauty is the ruler, many things, beauty over power, all of these things. And when we read with faith, and we are here to strengthen our faith, to build our faith, to be faithful followers of our masters. When we hear these, they're all so nourishing. They're not for us to analyze. That analysis has been done by Mahaprabhu and by our masters. It's here for us to accept and to try to get to know them as much as possible through their lectures, through their talks, through their writings, through their devotees, through those who've been with them. It is all very valuable.
Maharaj.
Yes, Paramananda.
Like you were saying about the fundamental principles, important principles of devotional service. So is the glorification of the devotees. As Srila Gurudev said so many times, and glorifies, show by his own example how it is done properly. So perhaps you can glorify a Vaishnava, since it's his disappearance day, and we're very much Vaishnava conscious today since the very early morning.
Vaishnava Maharaj conscious. So for those of you who don't know, and probably all of you do know, because we have a very famous devotee, world famous, as Guru, world famous devotee, Shruta Shrava Prabhu. And he's the father of Kalachand Prabhu, who is here with us now, and Kalachand Prabhu, and several others. And Kalachand will have to reel off the name of all your brothers and sisters to say all, so I don't miss any out. But anyway, Shruta Shrava Prabhu, he's a family man, and he was active, intelligent, good memory. He had a sharp memory, and he had various badges that he would wear. And he claimed, he said, I'm only a truck driver. That was, a phrase we only heard from Shruta Shrava Prabhu. We didn't hear that from Guru Maharaj. He would say, I'm only a truck driver, and this, that, and the other. But he spent his early time, and again, we'd have to hear from Carla to know the actual chronology, but he was with Goswami Maharaj, I believe, in the New York temple a long time ago. And we have Jivan and Kumkum with us who can probably back up the history. And they were learning shlokas while washing the pots. And Shruta said that they had these cards that you flip, maybe they're called flip cards, flip cards with the shlokas on. So they're washing the pots and they're learning shlokas and they're doing this. And then later on, he became a householder. Later on, the children making money for the family. And so what is he doing? At least at some point, he's driving a truck. But while he's driving a truck, then he's got on the dashboard of the truck, the front of the truck, he's got these flip cards, still got flip cards, and he's learning shlokas. And in the truck, listening to Guru Maharaj, listening to Guru Dev, listening to Srila Prabhupada, in this way. And he did many things in his life. Another part of the life, he was a restaurant manager. And I think maybe his restaurant was called Gauranga's, correct? Gauranga's restaurant. Yeah, so he had Gauranga's restaurant. And somebody somewhere, Carla probably has some pictures of Gurudev in Gauranga's restaurant when he went to America, at least on the earlier times. But as devotees have found out, it's very difficult to run successfully a restaurant because you're not the only person who's running a restaurant, and it takes practically 24 hours dedication to make the restaurant work, because the shopping, the prepping, the cooking, the serving, the cleaning, the everything else that goes with it. Anyway, Shruta at some point was wearing this badge, if you like, as running the restaurant, and other badges that he wore at different times. And some badges, they, more than others, we can say, they drew Gurudev's attention to him. And Gurudev gave him lots of mercy. And when he's in the government guest house, Gurudev giving him so much mercy, happily. We'll keep it in that department. And so anyway, I can just say, because actually for me, I'm going to have to leave like very soon. My clock is running around. But essentially, he got much mercy, we know, from Srila Prabhupada, much mercy from Srila Guru Maharaj, and much mercy from Srila Gurudev. And for our modern day, I mean, most of our devotees today, they know him in relationship to Srila Govinda Maharaj. He had extensive association, very dear to him. Playing slokas with Gurudev, he knew so many slokas and knew what they meant, not just parrot fashion. Many, many qualities, and we're very happy to remember him always. And actually, it's not just his disappearance day that we are remembering him, because all over the world where we go, you know, one of the names, oh, Shruta Prabhu, he came here, or Vaishnava Maharaj, he came here, and everybody remembers him. They remember his talks. He was very, very good preacher, very good natural speaker, and a good friend, I can say, too. I mean, he was, I suppose everybody who met him felt that he's his friend. Well, almost, unless you rubbed him the wrong way, then they may see him in a slightly different light, because Shruta Shravan, whatever he felt, he said. He didn't keep anything hidden inside. Hare Krishna.
Also, Maharaj, an embodiment of two qualities that Srila Gurudev valued the most, and he stressed it so many times. In my disciples and my followers, I value these two qualities the most, because if you have them, then you will be successful, just a matter of time.
Chastity.
And you know them.
Huh? Those two qualities?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay,
Yes,
I didn't know you were going to say that. It's not that, oh, Paramananda said this before, but this is Shruta Shravan. So you tell.
Anyhow, Maharaj just nailed it. So chastity and Maharaj, the second one.
Faith, no?
Faith, loyalty. Actually, Gurudev would say loyalty and chastity. He would dismiss all other misqualifications. It didn't matter. And I was there in a private conversation with Gurudev, and he's dismissing it like if it's nothing. He said, the only requirement from my disciple and my follower or my friend is the loyalty and chastity, and the rest will follow. You will be successful. There is no doubt to it. And through the Shrava Prabhu, Vaishnava Maharaj, he was the embodiment of that. And we all know that. We witness it so many times. Everybody can confirm. Jivana Didi, Kumkum Didi, I'm pretty sure, eyewitnesses of that. And beautiful exchanges with Srila Gurudev.
I'm a witness.
You're the way, yes, Maharaj, of course, you're the witness. Kalachand and Chinmoy Dev, everyone. And remembering in his last literally months, he did the Asian tour. So we went to China, as you know, then we went to Japan. He preached extensively in our new center in Chiang Mai. And at that time, I said, maybe you should take a break because you're so sick. You're in so much pain all the time. You have to take this very heavy painkillers. He said, no, this is not my plan. And don't have a dead wish, he said. But my wish is to die in harness. He was paraphrasing one of Guru Maharaj's godbrothers. So that was his wish. And it's actually happened. Because when he left the world, he was on the way to Thailand to start another Asian tour. So he was to come to Thailand, would go to India, then from India, China, then Japan again. And he left the world on the way.
Jai Shabad Bhakti Sharan Vaishnava Maharaj, our dear Shruta Shravan Prabhu ki Jai. So, dear devotees, I need to go now. I'm happy to leave you together if there's something that you wish to discuss with each other. I'm just saying that from my side, I need to continue. But I definitely appreciate the questions. And, we're here to address, all sorts of things which we can also think, oh, everybody knows this. But that's indeed why we're here, because sometimes we assume things. For years, we assume some things that devotees know, and only like much later, devotees say, oh, nobody ever told me this. So, here we are happily to keep ourselves. So we are, as the family, going on, knowing what's our family requirement and what we do, what we don't do. All right, so very happy having each of you with us. Without you, we'll be talking to ourselves, looking in the mirror and perhaps not seeing our heads. So much better to be able to see all of your heads. Jai Shri Gurudev Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Shri Bhakti Rock Shri Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Shri Prabhupada Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. And our Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga ki Jai. All our Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda ki Jai. All our exalted devotees around the world in all corners, north, south, east, west, and any other corners that there may be, ki Jai. And to the assembled devotees, to Kumkum Didi Jivana Paramananda Prabhu, all our senior devotees, Krishna Priya Devi Dasi, and everybody who is, all of you who are with us today. Dandavat Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So I need to go, but if you need to take any message from the right side, and it reminds people of Krishna consciously. Oh, some Chinese. I'll have to. And dear devotees, Ekadashi. Oh, Ekadashi, they have their morning program or noon program, perhaps. I don't remember, but she has to go each time for that.
And it's a record low temperature in Tomsk, minus 48 Celsius. I don't know how to translate it to Fahrenheit, but the record low temperature ever registered in that area.
Very cold. That's how you translate it.
No, more than that, Chinmoy. Way more than that.
All right. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.